Welcome to another edition of Carnivore Radio. I'm your host, Jeff Sherman, along with Dr. Eric Lopkin. Again, an eventful week, a lot of things going on, a lot of introspection, maybe not in mainstream media, but maybe buyer's remorse with many that voted for this administration. But we do have some interesting things going on. We have Michelle Obama. Basically, there's talk that she's considering a 2024 run. Your view, Dr. Lopkin?
I think it's absolutely ridiculous that they would even consider her. The Obama administration, I'm not talking about Obama himself or Michelle, I'm talking about all the little people that worked behind the scenes, are the same people who are working for the Biden administration.
True.
So, having her primary Biden and having her run, basically it's putting a new figurehead on the same system. There wouldn't be any changes. She wouldn't be any better at this because it's still all the same people. And the progressives have already been talking about the fact that they want a progressive to primary Biden. Here's the problem with this. Yeah, Michelle Obama could pass as a progressive. A progressive can't win the nomination they can't win the general election. That's why Biden was put up in the first place, to pretend to be a centrist. More than that, the fact that they're talking about primarying a sitting president. Now, it's not unheard of, but it's only happened 3 times in recent memory. And by recent, I'm talking 50, 60 years. Every time it happens, you get the same result. The sitting president wins the nomination from his party, but loses the general.
True. We even go back to Carter with Kennedy primarying against him. That's one of the reasons he lost.
Yes,
without any question.
Same thing with George H.W. Bush.
True, and Gerald Ford. But yes, very interesting. The other thing I think about Michelle Obama, it all looks good until you shine the light on the situation. I think she would be uncovered as someone that is ideas and ideologies that are far left from the center, and really just no real experience that could get her over the hump.
Let's not forget, this is the woman who, when her husband ran for president, she said it was the first time she was ever proud of America. When Hillary ran for president, she said, well, if you don't vote for Hillary and you're a woman, you're not being true to yourself. Well, remember, Hillary ran against her husband, so apparently she wasn't being true to herself, supporting her husband.
Yeah, we both agree. Left to the light of introspection, she goes nowhere. It all looks good, at the beginning, but it's like, an old rock group going to reunite, and then when you see them in concert, you're like, oh God, thank God they disbanded 20 years ago.
It's like going to see the Rolling Stones in concert. The time has passed and enough is enough.
There you go. I agree 100% with that. Now, AOC, a true genius, again, do as I say, not as I do, socialist, was going to some party in Florida, I believe it was Miami, without her mask. And again, she was the big mask czar, and not officially, but saying everyone needs to be a mask, blah, blah, blah. There she is partying in a big crowd without a mask. And then she had the audacity, talk about being grandiose in your view of yourself. She goes, all these Republicans that criticize me, deep down, they just want to date me. And I would say just one thing, that I'm conservative. And now when I criticize her, it's not any underlying desire to date her. Just want to make that clear.
No, yeah, I mean, that has to be the most narcissistic comment I've ever heard. The criticism against her is well founded because she has actually been found to be the least effective member of Congress. She has never gotten a bill out of committee. She has lost every major issue that she has fought for on the House floor. She also had the nerve to criticize Governor DeSantis for not being visible in public. Now, for those of you who don't know where Governor DeSantis has been, he has been at his wife's side as she undergoes cancer treatments. So she's saying, you know, all of these people want to date her, and then she criticizes DeSantis. No, this is a narcissistic airhead who is so full of herself, she does not understand how government works. This is why she keeps yelling for Biden to use executive orders on things that he cannot write an executive order on. She does not understand why things are like they are. This is why she's one of these pushing for the Senate filibuster to go away. Because as far as she's concerned, well, the only reason for the filibuster is to keep her from getting her way. This is a narcissistic little girl playing congresswoman. And quite frankly, she just needs to go away.
What does it say about our elected officials? This is a person that graduated college. God knows what her degree was in.
Her
And
degree
worked
was
at
in economics.
oh God, that's
I'm
BU
not
should
even
have their,
kidding.
no, that's a bad joke. I know it's true actually because I do recall that. BU, whoever is in charge of the economics department should have their title revoked. That's
But
ridiculous. But anyway,
between
go
her
ahead.
degree and the school pushing critical race theory, Boston University needs to get its accreditation revoked.
Well, it was never the icon. Well, I was really nice because I didn't bring it up. It was never the pinnacle of learning in Boston. We'll just leave it at that. It was, you got to check. Thank you very much. Welcome to the university. Am I not correct?
Yes, you are.
Thank you very much. So Antonio Brown had, talk about self-implosions. Had everything going for him, was resurrected by a Super Bowl team, and couldn't keep his shit together, could he?
No, he couldn't. And I can't help but notice Tom Brady's reaction to this. He comes out and goes, well, I hope he gets the help he needs. And it's all, there's obviously something under the surface. We don't know that there's any problem under the surface. He could just be a petulant child.
I love that because that's actually true, Dr. Lopkin, and that's why you're the doctor. Because everything's couched in, someone shits on their own career or screws up a marriage or does something to no, maybe they're just a friggin' idiot. It's just, you don't need Sigmund Freud to figure this out. The guy's probably not all that bright, and has a hair-triggered temper. He was insulated his whole life because he's excellent at what he does not school, by the way, but about catching footballs. And someone says, get in the game, and he freaks out. I mean, I don't think your father or my father or anyone else had the option. Like my father had to show up to work every day. Didn't make his different. His boss might have looked at him the wrong way. He didn't have the option to walk out and say, "Oh, well, screw you." So
exactly. Across the country, there are people who are dealing with serious issues every day at work, every day in their lives. And you know what? They hold it together. And it's time we hold these celebrities to the same standard.
Agreed. And, the whole, and elaborating a little bit about this whole situation, talk about priorities. Our educational system let's just say needs some improvement. We won't have to, and we don't have to elaborate any further. We spend probably more on the NFL than we do on education. I'm just kidding, but it's like all these $100 million contracts. I mean, are you kidding? What are you smoking? Back in the day, back even in the '70s, these guys made like 100,000. That was a lot, and they deserved it. You deserve. I think you deserve $1 million to play football. I mean, you are in the 0.05% of athleticism. 20 million, 100 million. And by the way, let me throw something at you. If I'm 25 years old and I'm getting paid $100 million, do I really care if I win the Super Bowl? I mean, yeah, it kind of would be nice, but I'm not going to go home and cry about it. I'm going to say, okay, check, please.
See, that you hit on something, though, that these are essentially young people who have been kowtowed to and sheltered. And I've had some conversations with David Gamble. For our listeners who don't know who David Gamble is, David Gamble was on the Super Bowl Denver Broncos, the Super Bowl winning Denver Broncos. And he says it's amazing how many of the players don't know how to take care of their money. They're not ready to do anything else. And it's so important that these guys actually do this. This is why I think it's absolutely ridiculous that the NCAA is now allowing students to get paid for endorsements. Their pay should be an education. They're getting scholarships. They should be taking their education seriously. And maybe if the NFL actually cared about these folks, they'd spend the money to create a farm team like the minor leagues in Major League Baseball and stop pulling people out of college before they're ready to graduate.
100%, but that would mean that the greed, and I love that. That is an excellent point, because all this crap about, you go on you look at the sidelines, we're all in this together, end racism, all this. If you really cared about, because the majority of people playing in the NFL are minorities, if you really cared about them, you would discourage. You might even have a rule. You have to complete your degree, possibly. But the NFL is so greedy, even though they're making billions upon billions, that to start a farm system would mean they'd actually have to take money out of their own coffers. So they'd rather hijack young kids out of college for their own benefit. They play 3 to 4 years, and when the gig's up, they're bankrupt, and that's a fact.
Yes, the rate of bankruptcy among former athletes is tremendous because they're not taught how to manage their money. Many of them are taken advantage of by their own managers, not to mention the hangers-on that they all seem to, be shelling out money for. These folks need to be educated before they should ever take the field.
Well, that's not in the NFL's best interest. To talk about being disingenuous, we can go into that in another edition. Marjorie Taylor Greene, banned from Twitter. I might not agree with everything she said, but that's really scary. Banned from Twitter, but you have Islamic extremists not. Could you please explain that to me, Dr. Lopkin? And is there not an upcoming war on social media?
There is going to be a reckoning on all of this. She was pulled because she's a conservative. This has been the mission of Twitter. And in fact, I'm not sure if it was the same day or it was within a few days, the account was canceled for a children's book publisher because they published a biography of, actually it was 3 biographies